If you guys remember from last time, I described Portal as the golden example of the phrase, "don't dig too deep." Now, the theories I covered in the previous episode of Portal, to be fair, weren't really theories. They were just things you could try out on your own downtime to creep you out and give you that uneasy sensation. Upon request, I'm putting my big boy pants on and digging a bit deeper into the controversial pit of speculation and horror that is Portal. They say terror is the most impacting where it is put in the place where you won't be looking for it. The more innocent something seems to be on the surface, the easier it is to corrupt. So many gamers find themselves entangled by the innocence of Portal the puzzle game that they pay no mind to and are completely oblivious to Portal the survival horror title. Have you ever been locked away in an abandoned science lab with an artificial intelligence surveying and controlling your every move? Taunting you about how your parents left you on a doorstep, breathing in the same air for all eternity, and being the obsessive target of a madman? Doesn't sound like something you could slap an E10 rating on, huh? There are 7 hidden dens you can discover in the game, closed off and secluded from the testing environment. First few are pretty easy to find, but they get progressively harder to reach, and the game forces you to search for them. Each den is accompanied with a spontaneous horror-like theme music, and scribbles that look like they were drawn with the most half-assed collection of crayons you could find at Office Depot. As you traverse the testing facility and uncover more of the dens, they start to tell a story. A story of a mentally damaged scientist driven to the point of an irreversible insanity after seeing something GLaDOS supposedly did before the Portal timeline, presumably poisoning and killing everyone in the entire Aperture laboratory. He started hiding out in the dens, making incomprehensible scribbles at first, but then turned into schematics. Blueprints drawn on the concrete walls of every den, revealing what looked to be a plot to disassemble GLaDOS, the very beast he had a strong hand in creating. Kind of ironic. This is especially noticeable in the 5th den in Mission 12, and in the last den, a poorly drawn portrait of Shell. It's pretty unnerving, looking at a drawing of yourself scribbled on a wall by a mentally deteriorated psychopath. But if you listen closely, you can hear speaking in the background, on the other side of the wall, almost like a rhythmic chanting of some sort. This is believed to be Doug Rattmann, an ex-Aperture scientist driven insane with paranoia and fright. If you have a keen enough ear to listen to the rambling, you'll find that he makes a questionable reference to the ship Borealis, saying it was stolen. But Bruce, that's such an old Easter egg, everyone knows that. Well, he also makes a reference to Cave Johnson being his uncle, as well as speaking of Black Mesa, Aperture's largest business rival, saying it's where it all started. Where what all started? After hearing the chanting and exiting the den, you'll notice the area is no longer accessible. Boarded up after you left, he was in the room with you, leading anyone to believe that it was the closest encounter you have with Rattmann in the game. Or is it? In the beginning of Chapter 5, you're finally making your first strides to escape the facility. Just in case it miraculously slipped by you before, Wheatley makes another reference to Doug Rattmann.
They say that the old caretaker of this place went absolutely crazy. Chopped up his entire staff of robots. All of them robots. They say at night you can still hear the screams of their replicas. All of them functionally indistinguishable from the originals. No memory of the incident. Nobody knows what they're screaming about. Absolutely terrifying. Though obviously not paranormal in any meaningful way.
Now, I'm not sure if this next part is true or not, but I have heard stories from other people that have done this. When Wheatley is shining the flashlight around, don't follow the illuminated path. Subvert that completely, and if you're brave enough, go into a darker area. If you do this, it's rumored that some players can hear things such as more distant rambling, metal screeches, and robotic screams. Horrid, torturous screams. Like, so horrid, I'm surprised the ESRB got away with rating it what they did kind of horrid. Last but not least, I want to cover some speculation that Doug Rattmann may or may not be located in the ending cutscene of the game. A lot of people think this is Doug Rattmann. It's not. After research was done, people came to the conclusion it was just another Franken turret from Wheatley Laboratories. I do believe Doug Rattmann is somewhere in the ending cutscene, but he's much closer to you than you think. So close, you can't even see him. The original Valve comic Lab Rat explains the backstory behind Doug Rattmann, his relationship with Caroline, Cave Johnson, what eventually drove him to insanity, and so forth, but also the relationship with a cube. You remember the cube you burned in the first portal? It kinda makes a return. After reaching the surface, the same burned companion cube is tossed out with you, accompanied with a door slam. Was Doug Rattmann riding the elevator with you the entire way up? And since Caroline was deleted, what purpose does he have to follow you anymore, other than just wanting to see you dead?